have bathed her, we've dried her, we've gone over her whole body. We're gonna just go ahead and do her head. It's really important when we have dogs that want to get this top knot that we put them up properly, so that way the hair isn't going to break and it's not going to fall in front of their eyes and all those things for the customers. When you go to do this, you can train the pets that come in. It is possible to train pet dogs to kind of lay down. I like to roll up a towel to place underneath their chin. It does help them, and you do have to kind of just put a little bit of pressure here after you encourage them to lay down. You can start with some treats. Obviously, having the pet parents work with them at home and showing them how to do it is important as well. And then they have fancy little pillows you can get, but you really don't need those. I'm going to go ahead and I have everything combed up that I want to put up into the top knot. And I'm going to go and I'm going to find the corner of the eye, and I'm going to go in a nice half circle shape right up to the base of that ear. So I want to make sure I get all of this hair in a really clean part right on top of the ear. I don't want any of the hair from the ear actually in my top knot. And then I'm going to go on the other side and find the hair from the corner of the eye. I'm going to take it and I'm going to part it right up to the top of the ear. And it's going to be this big ponytail for right now. Now I have a decision I need to make. This is a lot of hair. She's got a lot of really, really nice thick hair, which is awesome. You can do two things. You could leave it like this, but if you leave it like this, the likelihood that this front part is going to come out and just kind of start breaking is pretty high. Or you can cut it in half. So what I mean by cut it in half is you're going to take it in half. Have a nice clean part in the front. So you're gonna just basically have half of the hair up in it. You can use the end of your comb. You can use a crochet needle. You can use a rat tail comb. Rat tail combs work best. Or you can just use the end of the comb. And then you wanna just double check that you have right up the corner of the eye, up into there on both sides. I missed a little bit on this side, so I want to get a little bit more of that up into the top knot. And then when I go to put that in, I'm going to comb this really tight in the front, but I'm going to put the rubber band all the way up here. So I'm about a ½ inch off the top of the head, ½ inch to an inch. And I'm going to go ahead and rubber band it pretty tightly. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull forward on it just a little bit. So kind of pull forward. That's gonna make this bubble happen here. And then right on the back side, I'm gonna take about that much hair, just a little bit, and I'm gonna pull. What that's gonna do is it's gonna push this bubble forward. So that's what gives them that expression. So in the breed standard, they have this bubble. It gives them an awesome, very dignified expression. So I want to try and do that for Mom and give just a little bit. You don't have to do that. It just kind of depends on the dog. If you're doing a boy dog, I definitely would do it because it does make them a little bit more masculine looking. If I'm doing a girl, which she's a girl, I want to make it a little bit more feminine, so I'm not putting a huge bump on it, but you can get them to be pretty extreme if you want. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to part this the rest of the way. Make sure it's a nice straight line. Same thing over on the other side. So I'm going to kind of hold everything over to this side. And I'm going to just make a nice clean part here. I also, when I do this, I'm going to have to check my clipper work a little bit because I did clipper her down from, there was no starting point when I clipped it. So I want to just kind of double check that I don't have anything crazy happening back here. And I clipped it pretty evenly, which it looks pretty even to me, but it wouldn't be uncommon to find some random stragglers up here when we were trying to clip with all of this not put up yet. So just remember to check that. And then sometimes too, you can put a little bow at this point, or you could put it up here. It just depends on your preference and what you want to do. There isn't a right or wrong way to do that. So again, I'm going to go about 1 inch off the top of the head. So that way I'm not risking any skin being caught up in there, and it gives me a little bit of wiggle room as far as pulling it tight and getting the shape I want. You can kind of pull the ears like this to make sure that the skin isn't in there. And then I like to just pull this tight. Again, kind of make sure that nothing's pulling on them uncomfortably. And you can leave it like that if you want. You can put a little bubble, like a little bun. Or you could even do pigtails. So you would do it the same way. Doing pigtails, you would just go right up the center. You would go to the corner of the eye. Same thing, and you would just do the pigtails. Biggest thing to remember is when you're done to take your comb, make sure that your comb goes underneath and there's no skin caught up in those rubber bands, because that can kill the skin over time. And then at this point, you can decide if you want to cut a little bit of that off. She's never had a haircut, so I am going to just take a little bit of this length off so it's not excessive. I'm going to use thinning shears so that way it doesn't look like somebody just kind of came in here and took a pair of shears and it's now this blunt edge. I want it to kind of look natural, kind of look like there's some long pieces kind of still in there.